The Book of the Commonly Enlightened, written in 2013 by Reverend Rory Colgan. Dedication. As an author, copyrights are very important. This work is not meant to be for monetary gain, social advancement, or other small-term benefits for the author. As such, it is issued in the public domain. It is for you and anyone else who may benefit from it. Share the good news once you have heard, seen, and experienced the truth within these pages. Introduction. Holy books are written records of whole knowledge. This is a holy book written in 2013 by a common person. When you discuss Jewish, Christian, Islamic, Hindu, Taoist, Buddhist, Zoroastrian, Baha'i, or other groupings of faith, each faith has ardent followers who memorize, study, and put into practice their oral and written words of wisdom. This ensures that a religion, and the holy books that are with it, are passed on to future generations, where the followers will continue this process. Whereas, technology is constantly upgraded because it operates off of partial truths. Metaphysical truth is the same in this age, in the age following, and the ages long past. Every now and again there arises a need to write truth for a consciousness that is different than what came before it. Think of truth as an immortal person, timeless and unaging, and the religion as his or her clothing. Even with the immortal nature of oneself, 3,000 years or so on earth will dirty, tear, and soil such an immortal's clothing to varying degrees, and even the best materials break down naturally as they decay. For superficial thinkers, the clothing is the only thing they see as truth. Therefore, they will blame themselves and others for the dirt spots within their own religion, for they have yet to meet truth face to face. In any case, this book is a holy book for the age of Aquarius and the new Mayan age. It is new, soft, and colorful clothing for the unchanging truth of life. Some will appreciate this clothing, others will not. Whether it becomes well known and useful to humanity or it disappears in the sands of time, I do not know. My mission, however, is to keep the truth while packaging it in the hopes that new traditions will flourish. New clothing befitting truth's presence will again be passed down from generation to generation, and always the truth will be clothed in greater and greater garments, though it will never change. This book does not have to, nor can it, destroy truth in any other holy book or religion, for truth cannot be destroyed. This book is simply a new holy book nourished by the fallen ashes of old religions, coming through consciousness that is eternal. When enlightenment is common, when men and women write and live by holy books by the hundreds and thousands, the separation between enlightenment and ignorance will no longer seem so vast as the ocean of suffering, or as vast as heaven and hell. When enlightened people are a dime a dozen, or so the current saying goes, we will not need to deify others above ourselves, for we will clearly see through the smoke of illusion that confuses us now. Often, in placing our divinity outside of ourselves, we forsake our innate responsibility to learn, understand, and radiate divinity. That age has passed. It is time to wake up. If you are reading these words or listening to them, then let me again share with you divinity's call. Wake up. The new age is upon us. In 2002, I was blessed with those thoughts, and I was filled with the Holy Spirit's baptism, though none near me had the eyes to see it. I was imprisoned for these divine thoughts, misunderstood, drugged, and labeled. My religion was silent, and so I sought the answers, finding them eventually everywhere and nowhere specifically. My education was transcendent, intuitive, and reason-based. I was taught by others in the world, receiving my formal education at the School of Metaphysics. With all of this in mind, I affirm that if humanity is going to thrive in the new age, we, the individuals who will lead and teach, must memorize, study, and practice the truth, no matter where we find it. My recommendation is to make sure it is truth through testing all beliefs with experiments, having peers, worthy instructors, and guides along the way to knowledge. The good news, or gospel, is that the truth is what we are destined to find through the continuous loop of living. We have been given all that we will ever need. For those of you who are ready to hear and see what is, I openly share with you the book of the commonly enlightened. May the source of all life bless this book to spread into the hearts of many. May the source of all life bless your life to abundance, prosperity, and enlightenment that is innate within. Verse 1. Will. Will is a force of self, the universe, and the source of all life. This force is everywhere. It makes itself known in what is observable, whether on a quantum, atomic, molecular, or physical level. One of common enlightenment can observe with the outer eyes, the inner eyes, or the highest eyes. This leads to observation beyond all eyes, the realm of the fully enlightened. When you were given existence, simultaneously arose your will. This force courses through you every second of every day, on all levels of consciousness. Will and existence are your gifts from the source of all life. With this existence, you will your own destiny. Verse 2. Love. Love is infinite intelligence, timeless and eternal. In the darkness of the formless, love reigns with its partner will. It is ever present. It is in every fiber of your being, every moment, every day. You know this. This takes practice to remember, but it is recognized in our common enlightenment. All things, including enlightenment, are brought into being with love. All things are sustained with love. All things end in love. Verse 3. Intelligence. There are 3 worlds of intelligence in your domain. These worlds are to be experienced in. These worlds are to be learned, appreciated, and accepted. These worlds are designed for your cooperation and intelligence. These worlds are the outer, inner, and highest realms of intelligence. They are also known as the physical, the emotional, mental, and the spiritual realm. Mastery is achieved, received, and experienced through practice. Verse 4. Belief. Belief is an image. Belief is an image that has the power to manifest into physical reality. Belief is made of imagination. Attention, trust, confidence, and commitment support the essence of belief. Belief does not imply direct experience, any more than a seed implies the plant that comes from the seed. We must tend, grow, prune, and allow our beliefs to be, as they bear the fruit of knowledge, giving rise to new beliefs that continue the cycle of life to full enlightenment and beyond. Verse 5. Acceptance. Accept the universe as it is. This allows the commonly enlightened to open the self to the source of all life. This allows one to consciously receive the embrace from the source. The embrace leads one to empty the mind of thought so that greater thought and intelligence can enter. Greater intelligence stimulates the acceptance to deepen, which in turn deepens the degree of enlightenment. We, the commonly enlightened, use acceptance as our northern star. Verse 6. Service is the capacity to fulfill desires. These desires are tri-leveled. Outer desire is to learn. Inner desire is to understand. Highest desire is to radiate. As you serve others, you are served. Verse 7. Honesty. Honesty is the expressive action of thoughts, emotions, and deeds. Honesty is used by the commonly enlightened. We know that honesty is a transformative quality. Honesty transforms into truth, causing enlightenment of varying degrees. This enlightenment is one of infinite arrangement, as each star and each solar system is unique, though made in a similar way. The level of honesty is always dependent upon the individual's sense of reality. Hence, we return to the source of honesty, the expressive action of being. Verse 8. Meditation. Meditation is a communion within the mind that ultimately goes beyond the mind. This starts as communication between the outer self through the inner self to the highest self. One must be empty like a doorway for the communication to be sound. The back and forth, the pushing and pulling, or the communication loop, is undergone by the commonly enlightened. This leads to greater and greater communication with the highest self, eventually or quickly forming communion. Communion is the unity of self, the arrival of the no-self, the real self, or the fully enlightened self. Constant communion is full enlightenment. Verse 9. Spirit. Spirit animates, motivates, moves. Spirit is the harmonized working of love and will. When spirit leads, all else follows. Hence it has been said, not my will, but yours. This willingness only occurs if there is love. They work together seamlessly for all the ages in the highest realm. The commonly enlightened are filled with this love and willingness, deepening this harmony day after day. Verse 10. Optimism. The imagination can be described as optimistic if it is creative. Creativity is productive. The commonly enlightened know that productivity is measured in degrees. Hence, optimism's worth is measured in degrees. Optimism leads to creation of something, and pessimism leads to the destruction of that which is created. Optimism is an important role in being enlightened, for the fully enlightened self is the greatest and most optimistic creation we can make. In order to be enlightened, you must have imagined or received that thought through the image-making faculty in this life or another, though in truth it radiates from your real self and is received by the highest self before the laws of time. Verse 11. Mental control. Mental control is disciplined attention. Attention is the shadow of the real self. Attention operates as awareness in its purest form, and from there as consciousness, in the levels of the mind. Through the real self, this awareness comes to the highest self, then the inner self, and finally the outer self. Disciplined attention is the laser of awareness that allows the intelligence to use the outer, inner, and highest self. Therefore, this control must begin with the outer self, and through this outer control, humility and acceptance allow the attention to move to the inner self. When everything is correct and the consciousness ready, the attention can move into the highest self and beyond. Verse 12. Truth. Truth is everywhere. Truth is in everything. Truth is present anytime. In truth is found the learning, understanding, and reality of life. Truth is always constructive. Sometimes it seems destructive, but only untruth is destroyed. Truth is eternal, for truth describes the source of all life, the unchanging whole that everything changes in. Verse 13, leadership. Leadership requires the three golden bars of self-reflection, self-evaluation, and self-control. Self-reflection is the ability to be with the self and to observe what is. Self-evaluation implies the vision of who one is, why he or she is here, and where he or she is going. Self-control is understanding the outer and inner minds, attuning them to the highest mind. The better one is at the three golden bars, the greater the possibility at leading others to do the same. Leadership in the current age is shifting. The shift for the commonly enlightened is to lead, serve, and police themselves. This requires the golden bars, of which all verses herein nourish to flourish. Verse 14, emotion. Emotion is the bridge. Emotion is the bridge between worlds, inner and outer. With emotion comes the possibility of change, exchange, and interchange. Directed emotion is paramount for the evolution possible to humans. With emotions, the commonly enlightened bridge the gap between outer and inner. As one becomes conscious of the inner, one is closer to the highest, and through worship to the highest, one becomes conscious of the highest within. This dawning of awareness births a commonly enlightened person. Now, greater refinement begins. Verse 15, desire. Desire is a fire. It is a fire that exists as a spark. This spark is eternal. This spark is your highest self. It, like any spark, can catch fire with fuel. The inner and outer minds are fuel for the spark of desire. This originates in the highest self and radiates outward from this point. Desire is received by the inner self and becomes a burning fire that will be quenched through the cooperation of the inner self and the outer self. Know that the outer self is desire in its most numerous forms, whether good or evil. Since all desire arises from the desire of the highest self, refrain from good and evil, treating all things alike, if you desire to awaken the highest within.